Suzanne's Paparazzi Jewelry, 24/7 shopping available. 160920 is the code. Show her some love, like she showed us. K&A Custom Crafts on Facebook.
You know what? She's not coming home, is she?
Hey, what's going on, everybody? And welcome to the Coast to Coast Entertainment Network. I am Ace, and of course, tonight you're watching another episode of Sportsminute. But tonight you're joined by none other than that man that we call Mr. Mess Around Dave. How's it going tonight, my man?
Yeah, I've been better. I'm dealing with the cold, but other than that, I'm good. Let's roll.
And then, of course, we want to welcome in our special guest tonight, Christy Wilson. How's it going tonight?
Going good.
Which I guess at some point we'll have to come up with a nickname for you at some point, or you got to come up with something. You have to have some kind of on air name or something.
Yeah, that's true.
And then, of course, welcome in our first viewer, which is Brandon Herrera. He's now in the box. How is it going? Brandon Herrera is also saying hello to the lovely Christy Wilson. So there you go.
Hello.
And James Gonzalez is also here saying hello, everyone. All right, James, I hope you're having a fantastic night also. All right, so, this Saturday edition of Sports Minute, everybody knows that, every Saturday when we do this, it's always open forum. So we just talk about, random topics, whatever comes to our mind. But so Brandon is saying Christy Wilson, call her Crazy K.
Crazy K.
Crazy K. There you go. But I want to, Go ahead. Yeah, you'll think about a name. So I want to start out with this, talking about this guy, quarterback from Western Kentucky. Mm-hmm. And the reason why I want to talk about this guy, his name's Billy Cap, right? Or Capé. I should say it's Capé. But anyways, I'm bringing this up because, yeah, he plays for Western Kentucky. But here's one thing that a lot of people probably don't know about Billy Capé is that the thing is this season, so he played his final game today. They beat Appalachian State. They beat them. It was like 58 to 38. Mm-hmm. But Billy Capé, if nobody saw this guy's numbers at the end of the season this year, he broke pretty much every college football passing record this season that there was. Billy Capé broke Joe Burrow's passing touchdown record. He finished the season with 62 passing touchdowns. He threw for 6,000 yards. And let me tell you, how was he not? Let me ask you this. How was he not even considered in the Heisman? I want to know.
I don't know.
How was he not considered in the Heisman? It's because it's Western Kentucky. Because he plays for Western Kentucky.
Because he plays for a small school, Division II school?
Something like that.
Exactly. But I guarantee that if it would have been like somebody from LSU, somebody from Alabama, somebody from Clemson, somebody from Notre Dame, if any one of those quarterbacks would have thrown 62 touchdowns and 6,000 yards on the season, I guarantee they would have won the Heisman. And a lot more people would have been talking about this individual.
You're right. You're absolutely right. I mean, it's because he plays for that small school and he plays against lesser competition. So that's why he's not being talked about. If he played for an LSU, for sure, he would have ran away with it.
Oh, absolutely. So James is saying, I hope Capet gets drafted and shocks the world. Now the thing is, though, I think he will get drafted, but the problem is he's not going to be a quarterback that, even though he threw for 62 touchdowns and 6,000 yards, you're not going to see him drafted in the first round. You're not going to see him drafted in the second round. You're probably going to see him somewhere, probably the fourth round or higher is probably what you're going to see at that point. Probably like the fourth, fifth, or sixth round, unless somehow because he did get invited to the combine and everything else, but unless somehow he can somehow skyrocket up when he goes and impresses everybody. But tell me, when a guy throws for 62 touchdowns in a season, how can that not be impressive? I don't care what school you play for. That's impressive.
That is super impressive.
I mean, what's his name? Case Keenum had record-shattering numbers too when he came out of college, and he's had a nice little career in the NFL. So
Case Keenum, he came from Houston, so it definitely wasn't like a Houston's not really a big-time school, but he did break every passing record that there was at Houston.
Yep.
But that was for Houston. He broke all the passing records in Houston. I'm talking about Capet broke all the passing records in all of college football. That's what I'm talking about. It wasn't just Western Kentucky. It was through even all the bigger schools. It was through LSU, Alabama, Clemson, any bigger schools. He beat all those records too.
Wow.
We're just gonna ignore Isaiah's comment, right?
How many passing yards and TDs will Nick Mullins? What is with you and Nick Mullins?
Oh, for God's sakes. Ugh.
Yeah, and
Nick Mullins' obsession here.
He does. And he wants me to let everybody know that his Austin Reeves jersey came in the mail.
Oh, jeez. That obsession as well.
Right? So James Gonzalez
as bad as Mullins, I know it.
Huh?
It's gonna get just as bad as Nick Mullins, I know it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So James Gonzalez saying it would be cool if he got drafted by the Giants or Raiders. No.
I don't know.
I'm not a Western Kentucky fan, but I'll tell you, I'm gonna be pulling for him. I'm gonna be pulling for him because he's coming from a smaller school, so I would definitely like to see him go somewhere and succeed and show people that you can come from a smaller school and still be a good quarterback in the NFL. So James is saying that Isaiah should return it or burn it. Absolutely.
Agreed.
I agree.
Absolutely. All right. So that was the first thing I wanted to touch on. I just wanted to kind of get that off my chest because this was because it was bugging me. And the reason it was bugging me simply due to the fact that I actually didn't know he had those kind of numbers until I was watching the bowl game. Ooh. And then after the first half was over, I'm like, wait, he's thrown how many? And nobody knows about this? I was like, right? Are you kidding me?
That's the first time I heard about it.
Same here.
Exactly. Nobody knew about it because they weren't talking about it because it wasn't a big deal because it was a smaller school, but it still is a big deal. No, Brandon, I do not want them to draft Capet. I don't want them to.
Who oh God.
Yeah, I don't want the Packers to draft Capet. I'm sorry.
He should be drafted by the Vikings to replace Kirk Cousins.
There you go.
Might work out better for him. You never know.
Absolutely. All right. So, jumping into our next topic, I want to give a shout out though to the Wisconsin Badgers volleyball team for winning their first ever volleyball national championship today. Congratulations to that. They beat the Nebraska Huskers and five Huskers in five sets. So congratulations to the Wisconsin Badgers there. All right. So mess around, Dave. Anything you want to talk about?
There was I wanted to talk about that running back from UAB. He looked really good today. He had 28 carries, 100 and some odd yards, something like that. Dude tore it up. They could not stop him. I was watching that game, fell asleep, woke back up, and it was almost over.
Jonathan Taylor.
Was that his name?
The running back for the Colts?
No, I'm talking about UAB.
Oh, UAB. Okay, sorry. I thought you were talking about the Thursday night game. I'm sorry.
No, I was talking about the UAB, and I'm glad they beat BYU. It's nice to see one of the smaller teams beat up a bigger school team like BYU. I know they're not Power 5 or anything, but it's a little guy against a bigger guy, and the little guy won, so it's always nice to see that.
It is, and I think that's why a lot of people are actually pulling for Cincinnati to beat Alabama, because they want to see a smaller school beat up on a bigger school. Now, I'm not saying they're going to come in and blow out Alabama, because I don't see that happening.
No.
But what I'm saying, though, is I think a lot of people are hoping that Cincinnati can come in and beat Alabama, because everybody wants
thank you, Brandon.
It's McBride. But just think about, like, if it shows you how good this Western Kentucky's offense was today, that, oh, well, you're talking about UAB, so never mind. But yeah, but yes, UAB though is definitely, this is their best season. Like, this was by far their best season that you've seen with UAB. To even come out and beat a BYU team that was actually ranked. So that's why it was such a big win for UAB, because it's definitely
13th, I believe.
Huh?
BYU is 13th.
Yes.
13th.
Yes, they were. And so as I'm seeing that, I'm like, man, now when it came down to the fourth quarter with 3 minutes left and UAB's beaten BYU by 3, I think it was like 13-10 at that point. As I'm watching the game, I'm like, all they have to do is get 2 first downs. They get 2 first downs and this is over. And they managed to get the 2 first downs that they needed, which was huge. It was huge. So you're right, mess around. This is big for college football. It is.
Yeah, just to go to show you that, anybody could beat anybody. Cincinnati's got a chance. I know a lot of people don't think they do, but
yeah, they do have a chance.
I'm pulling for Cincy against Alabama.
Me too. Let's go Cincy.
You should be actually. You have to be going for them at this point because of how big and what it means for college football.
Yeah, that's true.
All right, so Christy, I don't know if you saw today, but the Mets actually signed Buck Showalter as their manager.
Wow. Ugh.
Hasn't managed a game since 2018.
Jeez. 3 years. Wow.
Showalter, though, he's not a horrible manager. He comes from Baltimore. It's just going to definitely be, but he's coming to a much better team than he really ever had in Baltimore.
True.
He made the playoffs with Baltimore once, didn't he?
Yeah, when Nelson Cruz was, but in which at that point I do believe that year they actually won the AL East, and they were the favorites in the playoffs because they had a great lineup. But then they actually lost in the first round, and they lost to, I think they ended up losing that year to like the Rays or something like that again. So. And yes, James, I'm expecting it too. So he said, this could work or implode with the Mets. You know what? It's typical Mets fashion, though. It's typical Mets fashion. They always start out really good, and then they freaking implode every single season.
They go downhill fast.
I'm okay with the hire, but at the same time, it's a retread hire. Mm-hmm. Why not go with somebody new and give somebody a chance that hasn't had a chance before? Yeah. This guy's managed like 5 or 6 different clubs. And there's assistant, other managers out there on the field that probably deserve a shot that haven't gotten a shot yet for whatever reason. But I don't know. We'll see. I agree with James, though. It could work or implode. It's kind of like when my White Sox hired Lou Russo last year. Mm-hmm. I was like, oh, God, really? Yeah. But it kind of worked out until we met Houston in the first round. And I told you when we played them, I figured we were going to lose because they just had our number this year.
So there was something that I wanted to bring up really quick about the NFL side of things because, we saw how, all these COVID cases are kind of on the uptick and they're happening. The Browns had like 24 people that tested positive. The Rams had like over 30, and the games got put off until Tuesday. Yep. So my question for you is that you guys even saw that the NFLPA and all that stuff actually ended up loosening up on the COVID restrictions as far as testing, saying that, if you're vaccinated, you don't have to test as often and you can even come back sooner. Christy, what's your thoughts on them actually loosening this up?
Well, I think they had to, because I just felt like they had to with this outbreak and everything.
Yeah, when you're losing so many people at one time, this is why they did it, because of the simple fact that they were really afraid for teams to be losing so many people that it was going to be down to their like third, fourth stringers, and teams were going to be coming in going, well, you know what, this isn't fair because our starting quarterback's out, our backup is hurt, are out because of COVID, our third string. Like you legitimately had teams that had to basically sign somebody off the street or call them up from their practice squad because they didn't have another healthy quarterback because they were all there from COVID. You saw that, I believe it was the Brown. No, it was Washington. Oh, that signed Garrett Gilbert off of another team, I think it was the Patriots practice squad because Heineke was out with COVID, and who's their backup? And Kyle Allen was out with COVID. So their quarterbacks were out, so they had to go out and sign somebody else off of another team's practice squad to bring them in because they thought they weren't going to have a quarterback. But news was today that Kyle Allen should be cleared to play by Tuesday. Yeah. So that for Washington is big. But mess around, Dave, what do you think of their loosening up on the COVID restrictions and stuff?
Loosening up or tightening?
No, they're kind of loosening up with the whole fact that, if you're vaccinated, you don't have to test as much. You can come back faster.
I don't know. I mean, it's good and bad. I mean, you just want to talk about being fair. Tell that to the Broncos, who last year had to start a receiver quarterback.
Yep.
How fair was that for them? How'd that turn out for them?
Not good.
So, yeah, that actually wasn't good at all. And so I think that's why the biggest thing was like that, when the NFL comes out and says, well, we are going to, postpone this game and move it back to a different day. I think that's why the Broncos are kind of angry because they're like, well, wait, last year our whole entire quarterback room was out with COVID and you made us play against the Saints with a receiver at quarterback.
Mess.
Yeah, it was a mess. And you saw what happened to the Broncos, and now because the NFL's like, no, we're not moving that game back. But they decided this time, like, well, we'll move these game backs because of the COVID outbreak. I'm like, okay, but what's the difference though? Because last year you made the Broncos play with a receiver at quarterback, and now you're not going to do that. You're going to move it back.
That's exactly why I brought that up. It's so not fair. Like, if you're the Broncos, you got to be totally irate right now.
Well, yeah, but I don't think that they're going to look at last season, maybe or maybe not, and say, well, last year we got screwed because we had to play for it. I don't think it would have made a difference anyways because they weren't that good last year anyway.
No, but still, they still made him play with the receiver at quarterback.
Yeah, no, and I completely get that, but I think that teams were actually preparing for it though. But when it came down to it though, too, it actually turns out that Seattle, because Seattle was actually going up against the Rams, so Seattle actually was not happy that the NFL moved that game back, and I know why. I mean, I completely understand why, because like, oh, we could go against the Rams when they have 28 guys out and we should be okay. So I think that's why Seattle was a little upset about it.
Yeah.
And I mean, whether you agree with it or not is a whole nother thing.
Yeah.
But it's a simple fact that, I think what you do for one, you should do for all.
Yeah. Fair's fair.
All fair, all is fair in love and war. But James Gonzalez saying, I figured the NFL would have tightened things up since there was so many cases regardless of vaccinations. Am I missing something here? And that's what I was saying, though, too, because when they were having that meeting about, the restrictions and everything, I thought that they were going to tighten everything up. But they didn't. They kind of opened more things up and even said if you're asymptomatic, you can even come back faster.
No, they put mask restrictions. They also said you have to do outdoor practice meetings.
Yes, but
you can't eat, around, as a team.
Right.
They put those stuff in place.
Yeah, but I'm talking about when people are able to come back. They're allowing them to come back faster than they were before. And if you're vaccinated, you don't even have to test as much now. And if you're asymptomatic, oh boy, who's here?
Isaiah snuck in.
He snuck in. Who invited this guy?
I did.
Oh, Dave invited that guy.
Oh my God.
Yes, mess around, Dave. You're my hero. Thank you very much, man.
You're welcome.
All right. Well, anyway, so I think the one thing that we forgot to touch on so far was how many of you actually watched the Thursday night game tonight? Okay. So, Christy, Dave, you watched it. Isaiah, I don't think you probably did. Did you watch it at all?
You're talking about the Thursday night game or the Saturday one?
Oh, sorry, the Saturday night game tonight. Sorry.
Colts Patriots.
Yeah, I watched a little bit of it.
I caught the second half.
I watched I caught Christy. I caught a bit of the second half.
I watched the half.
I was watching Darren Williams versus Frank Gore in the boxing match that they had.
You want to call it a boxing match? Get out of here.
God.
Oh man, poor Frank Gore, man. Poor Frank.
Mess around, Dave. I'll start out with you. What was your thoughts on this? I want to say Thursday night game every time because I'm not used to they're playing on a Saturday night. So I say Thursday night, but I meant to say Saturday night. So mess around. Tell me what your thoughts was on the Saturday night game.
Well, from what I saw of it, I napped here and there and woke up and caught a little more and then fell back asleep and woke up. But I was glad. I figured the Colts were going to make a statement and win this game. Their defense, was going to show up, and they did. And that later guy, he should be MVP Defensive Player of the Year. That dude is a freaking stud. 2 picks in this game. He was everywhere tonight.
It was good.
And then Jonathan Taylor, outstanding game for him. I don't know why he's not like your brother's been saying it all year long. J-Mac's been talking about how this guy should be in the MVP race. And he's not talked about as being in the MVP race.
I don't know why.
Because he's a running back, that's why.
Yeah.
That's exactly why.
But they had talked about, the history of running backs that have won the MVP award, such as, Alexander, Adrian Peterson,
TD.
Smith.
Yeah, there was Emmitt Smith. There was Tomlinson. Yeah, so there was a few running backs who did it. But when it comes to it, when you look at Taylor's numbers compared to those guys who won it, he's right on point. Like, he's right there. Because the average at this point in time for them was about 1,620 yards. Right. And Taylor's about 1,580 yards. And that's rushing. That's just rushing. So I'm telling you, and there's still about 3 or 4 games left. So with that, he's going to be right there. Like, you have to think, imagine if he has 2 200-yard games, he can break the all-time record.
Oh, go over 2,000 yards. Woo-hoo-hoo.
Well, think about the year, though, that Peterson came 13 yards away from breaking the record.
Remember that. I was
13 yards.
That's close.
Jamal Lewis also got close, too, I believe.
That's true.
Yeah, but when you think back to Adrian Peterson,
Yeah.
the year that he came within 13 yards, you have to think it was the final game of the season. You know, Minnesota had the ball at the 25.
Yep.
And I understand that I get that they needed a field goal in order to win it, but you're at the 25 and the guy needs 13 yards. You might as well give it to him a couple more times because you still had a few timeouts left.
Yeah, you did.
But instead, they're like, nah, you know, we're going to go ahead and take a couple kneels here and then kick the field goal.
Oh,
And I'm
that's
like,
horrible, man.
I was like, dude, you just screwed the guy for breaking the all-time record because
screwed him over.
Yeah, he was a beast though. But Christy, what was your thoughts on the Saturday night game?
It was pretty good. I thought Indy was gonna blow the Patriots out, but I guess the Colts kicker had I don't know. He missed a couple of key kicks that would have really helped put the game away, but at least they got the win in the end, so that's good. And Jonathan Taylor, he's a beast. I like him.
You could tell that they were feeding him the rock tonight because he ran it like he ran it like 30 times. Oh, yeah. And Carson Wentz had under 100 yards passing, so he barely threw the ball.
What, 12 passes in this game?
Yeah, it wasn't much.
He didn't need to throw the ball that much. So when you got good of a running back behind you, sometimes throwing the ball is not always necessary. You don't need to fling it for like 500 yards.
Yeah, because it was like last year, or not last year, but last week, you know, when the Patriots were playing the Bills and Mac Jones only threw it 3 times.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and
Wentz was 5 of 12, 57 yards, a touch, and a pick.
Exactly. So that's the thing. So they were feeding him the rock all night long. When you have that kind of running back, you know, the thing is though is like, this is my concern. My concern is this. You're feeding this guy the ball, you know, 29 to 30 times. If you're doing this game in and game out, can he stay healthy enough? That's going to be the problem because you know this is going to take wear and tear on his body.
It will.
And it's not going to be easy on him going the rest of the way because all it takes is that one wrong hit and he's getting hurt. And he's getting hurt. And then at that point, I'll tell you, if Jonathan Taylor gets hurt, the Colts season's done.
Well, pretty soon teams are going to start stacking the box and put 8 and 9 guys in the box and try and make them one-dimensional.
Yep.
But let's not also forget about the fight tonight, though, between Pittman and Duggan. Like, that was
double ejections.
Double ejection. Now, was Michael Pittman, should he have been ejected? I'm not quite sure because Pittman's not really the one who did anything. He got his helmet ripped off and got hit in the face. And then Dugan took him down and Pittman's like, the guy was on top of me.
Yeah.
He was on top of me.
That was probably a better fight than the Gore and Deron Williams fight.
First.
The what? Oh yeah, the Gore fight. Yeah.
Oh.
But I'm simply saying though.
Oh my God!
I don't.
Oh my God! What is it?
Jake Paul knocked out Woodley. That's what he's flipping out about.
But I'm telling you, I don't.
He's in shock right now.
Yeah, it's the Jake Paul knocking out Woodley was the shock. Yeah, Jake Paul, exactly. Nobody wanted Jake Paul to win. But when it came down to it in the end is what I'm saying. I don't think that the Pittman ejection was warranted at all. No. Because he's not the one who hit Dugan. He didn't hit him. He didn't rip his helmet off. It was Dugan who ripped off Pittman's helmet and hit him and then took down Michael Pittman. So tell me how that was warranted. I don't understand that. So Isaiah, I see you kind of making that face when I mentioned about that Dugan and Michael Pittman fight. But did you think that Michael Pittman should have been ejected?
No, I don't think he should have. I don't think he did anything wrong. I mean, when a guy is on top of you, when a guy rips off your helmet and the guy hits you in the face, I mean, you're free to retaliate. I mean, it's like come on, man. Like it's instinct. That's what it is. And I didn't like how Michael Pittman got ejected. I think Dugan should have. He's the one that should have definitely got the boot because he's the one that was the one that started this whole thing. I know they were trash talking, and then it escalated into this massive brawl that we saw. But I don't think Pittman deserved to get kicked out. I thought that what he did was just instinctive, and what he did was just him just fighting back. I mean, if let's say whether you're on the court or whether you're playing football for fun or you're on the street, like if someone did that to you, like just randomly just tears your helmet off and hits you in the face and is on top of you, of course you're gonna fight back. That's human nature. And for the refs to kick Pittman out because he reacted like that, it's absolutely ridiculous, man. And I really don't know what to say. And also, Michael Pittman, he's not that type of guy that is gonna, want to start some stuff like what happened tonight. Like I've watched this kid since he was at USC. He's like a mild-mannered, calm dude. He's not gonna be the guy that starts like some of this BS. If something involves him, then like someone did something or said something that was really derogatory towards him.
Yeah.
I think the thing that got me though too is when you're watching this game, that this all this chippiness started on that field goal that the Colts kicker missed. When you saw Carson Wentz walk towards the middle of the field out to the numbers and get in Judon's face, and I'm like, what are you doing? I'm like, Wentz, you're on the sidelines. Why are you even walking on the field out to the numbers? That has nothing to do with you. Have that been a penalty? Absolutely, because he was a player at that point that should not have been on the field. So that should have been a penalty for him for unsportsmanlike conduct because, I've reffed before, and any player that's not supposed to be on the field walks on the field without a helmet or anything, it's supposed to be a flag for unsportsmanlike conduct.
Yes.
Because you can't do that. Even when you're walking on the field and getting in a player's face, you can't do that. I don't know what it was over. Nobody knows what it was over or whatever, but it happened. And
I don't know about the NFL, but I know the NBA, when you walk on the court like that and you're on the bench, you get ejected or suspended the next few games. So,
yeah, because you're not unless you are LeBron.
Oh, yeah.
Right. Yeah, unless you're LeBron, yeah.
Because I've seen it like 3 times to where LeBron's out in games, he's sitting out and he's walked on the court across the court and been like, ref, I want an explanation. And it's like, wait, he's not even supposed to be on the court.
Like, sit your ass down. You're not
exactly. Sit your butt down. This has nothing to do with you.
Yeah,
exactly.
I mean, superstar treatment, though. I'm pretty sure KD gets it. Like, Giannis probably gets it. Like, if they did it, like, they would probably do it. But if, like, you had some middle-tier player, like Bobby Portis, if he did this, oh, my gosh. The next day, he would be hearing from the league for sure.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's true. It's true, though.
What toppings you put on a baked potato?
It's definitely true. Like, there are players who get special treatments. There's those players out there that do, and there's other players that you're like, come on, if that was another player, he probably would have been flagged or ejected or something. I don't think that, the refs would have ejected another player, but I think that they definitely would have penalized them. And so I don't know why there was not a penalty, because it's even any time a coach, walks that far on the field for no reason. It's supposed to be on sportsmanlike conduct on the coach, because you're not supposed to be walking on the field. What?
You remember that incident we talked about on Wild Sports Talk, right? Where Kyle Anderson is like, he cussed at he didn't cuss at a fan, but he said something to a ref, and it was like in a bad tone or whatever.
Yes,
he got ejected over that. I'm pretty sure that if that was LeBron, if that was Kevin Durant, if that was Giannis, if that was even Anthony Davis or Chris Paul or Carmelo Anthony, that that argued with the ref in that manner, the ref, dude, forget like ejecting that person. The ref would personally grab a piece of paper and ask them for their autograph. And or take out their phone and be like, "Oh my God, I argued with LeBron. I argued with Giannis. Kevin Durant said this to me. Can you believe it?"
Yeah, and
I believe
that was a big and we talked about that but it wasn't only that, that he got ejected because he talked to a ref in an aggressive manner.
Right.
He got ejected too because he took too long walking off the court. And it was Dylan Brooks by the way who did it. But yes, Matt, Mr. and Dave, you heard that. We talked about this. It was like last Monday. Dylan Brooks got ejected from a game because he came off an aggressive tone towards a referee and took too long walking off the court. So he got ejected and fined $25,000.
Good. That's what he should have. That's what you get. Play a stupid game, win stupid prizes.
Yep.
For an aggressive tone. You agree? You agree?
Well,
you
can't be talking to refs like that unless you're LeBron.
That's my point. That's my point, though, man. If you're gonna find one, you got to find the other. It
should be everybody. It should just be to pick and choose.
Exactly.
Well, apparently the NBA is now a race because you get ejected or you get fined for not leaving the court, fast enough. Like, come on, man. Like, are we going to time people now and be like, hey, you didn't get off the court in 3.8 seconds. You're going to get fined this, or you didn't get off the court in like 5 seconds. You're going to get fined this. It's absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah.
So this is the one thing that I want to talk about though too, because I think that this really needs to be touched on because people are talking about how some of these sports are getting soft, and you know what? I get it, okay? I get it that some of these sports are getting soft. When you look at the NFL, people are talking about, the NFL is getting soft because you can't do this or you can't do that. This is the thing, though. This is what I wanted to bring up about this. So, when in the NFL, when you could hit players or whatever, in the helmet, below the waist, and never got a penalty. Right. This is the problem, though. When the NFL allowed it to happen, then players started getting CTE. And then after that, families would start suing the NFL and saying that they're not protecting the players. So then the NFL goes, okay, we need to do something to protect the players so we don't get sued. So the NFL at this point is trying to protect themselves so they don't get sued. So they put these rules in place, and then people go, "Oh, well, we don't like the rules. Just let them play." All right. Well, you have to decide. How bad do you want this? Because if you're going to sue the NFL, if a family member gets hurt because of CTE, then you can't really be mad that they're making these rules to put in place for player safety.
Yeah, it's like you can't have it both ways.
Exactly.
You can't. And so I know why the NFL does it. It's to protect themselves. And people don't really see that because, the NFL doesn't want to get sued time and time and time again because players are getting CTE. Yeah. So they're trying to protect the players. And that's what it boils down to. Mr. Dave? Oh, Isaiah, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, I don't really have an issue with any of the NFL rules. The only rule I would say that I do have an issue with is, damn it, I think I lost my train of thought. But it was like, get back to me. I lost my train of thought right when I was saying that sentence.
Okay, so here's what I have to say about the whole thing. The NFL that I grew up on is not the same that Isaiah grew up on, or even Ace. Back when the NFL I grew up on, you'd see a guy running across the middle. Ronnie Lott's going to blast a guy every time and not get flagged. If Ronnie Lott played today, he wouldn't make it because of his aggressive manner and how he played.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I get what you're saying, but they're trying to protect themselves, but these guys are taught to tackle that way.
Yeah. From
the time they play Pee Wee football all the way up through NFL.
No, there are some aspects of the game that I do agree that they could lighten up on. Like let's say a pass rusher is rushing in and he gets to a quarterback and he takes his hand and brushes it across the helmet, yeah, I don't believe that should be a penalty. Even though they're going to call it because it's at the head area, so they're going to call it. But that's the one part where I don't believe it should be a penalty. But I do agree that if you go anywhere near the head, if you go to spear him or anything, that should definitely be a penalty because you should not be hitting the other player in the head. I do agree with that because that can cause a lot of problems. So I do agree with that one. But the brushing of the head with the hand, that's one thing that I don't agree with.
No.
So, Christy, what's your thoughts on this?
Oh, this is tough. But it's just a lot of rules I don't like. It like just it's like define roughing the passer when you just casually tap them or something like that. That's nuts.
Or when you actually tackle him and you take in your whole body weight goes on top of the quarterback and they call roughing the passer.
Yeah, that too.
At that point, you're wondering, you're like, well, what can they do? Because they can't go like around this area because they'll call it. They can't go low because they'll call it.
Right.
So you have to figure out,
like right in the middle.
What can you do?
Yeah, what can you do?
It's becoming two-hand touch football is what it's.
Yeah. Next thing you know, it's going to be flags. We're going to be playing flag football before you know it.
But that's why we talk about now how quarterbacks last a lot longer because of the simple fact that you can't touch them anymore.
Tom Brady.
Isaiah, it looked like you were going to say something.
Yeah, I just remember there's two rules that I really don't like in the NFL. The first one was actually implemented this year by the Salty Mara family, and that was the whole taunting rule. I'm like the NFL. This is the thing I don't understand with the NFL. You have remember before, right? Back in the day, you would get flagged for excessive celebration in the end zone. Like you couldn't do anything to celebrate a touchdown, or an interception or a fumble recovery or whatever. You would get flagged for excessive celebration. Well, then they took that out, and now you could celebrate. But now, and I saw this during the Niners-Bengals game, when I think the Bengals guy got a pick or whatever, and he points at the 49ers player, or he wasn't even pointing at the Niners player. He was pointing towards the Bengals sideline, and then the 49ers player just happened to be a little bit there, and they thought that he was pointing at him, and then they throw a flag, and it's for taunting. And I'm like, really? You're going to call taunting on that? I don't think the taunting penalty should even exist because there's a lot of things that you're just like, why are you really going to call taunting on that? The guy's just celebrating, and you're going to call taunting. The Tyreek Hill play. You guys remember that? Where he catches a touchdown, he's like, bye-bye, bye-bye. And then they call taunting. I'm like, just let them play. Let them celebrate. Let them have fun. No wonder why the NFL has become, the no fun league that everybody, calls it that. And the other rule I would say that I have a problem with is the lowering the helmet rule by the defender. Yeah. And here's why. Because when you have, for example, what if a running back is running and he's running for 10, 15 yards and a guy's coming over to try to tackle him, normally what happens in those situations is the running back is the one that, puts his head down, which causes the other guy to, get his head down or no. Yeah, the running back puts his head down, which causes the defender to make contact with his head, and then they call that lowering the helmet. I'm like, I understand why you're putting that rule in place, but most of the time it's the offensive player that initiates it by lowering his head, which causes the guy to lower his head because he doesn't want to hit him in the head area or the neck area. So that's kind of the two rules that I really want the NFL to take away. The first one, that they definitely have to take that away because I know John Mara said, and he even said it himself, he was the one that advocated for it because he wants players to show class. Really? You want players to show class? Come on, man.
Yeah. No, I definitely get what you're saying there with the whole, lowering the helmet and everything else. I get it. There are certain instances to where I do agree it should be a penalty, but maybe like James said, maybe you should be able to review a few of them. Even because you get your 2 challenges a game. If you win them both, you get an extra one, and so but you should be able to use those challenges on certain penalties.
Yes.
That seems like it would just take more time and just get rid of it altogether. It's going to take up more time. I want to review that.
Yeah, but we're not talking about reviewing every penalty. We're talking about you only still get your certain amount of challenges. Yep. And if you want to use one on that penalty, use it on the penalty. So it's not like saying you review every single one.
Right.
We're just saying it'd still be the same as using challenges. You only get a certain amount.
Right. I'm just saying I agree with Isaiah. The taunting penalty is so stupid. Like
it is.
The Bears Steelers game when Cassius March walks over to the pit sideline and he did a little shimmy thing and turned around. The ref didn't even see that and threw a flag on it.
Yeah, taunting is hard, man. Like it's kind of a judgment thing, but still some of the judgments are bad, like really, really bad when you think about it. And that's kind of where it comes down to is, you're like, what kind of taunting? Because now every time I'm watching a game, I'm like, please don't say anything. Just get up and walk away. Don't do nothing.
When we watched the Bears-Packers games last week, did I say, just walk away, get up, stop, don't do it.
Right? Don't do it. Just let them go.
Don't celebrate. Don't do your sack dance.
The taunting should just go away. It's ridiculous.
It is.
Wasn't the taunting rule implemented just this year, right?
Yeah. This is the first year.
You're taking human emotion out of the game.
Yeah.
I don't even see people doing dances. You know how they used to do dances when they sack a quarterback? I don't even see that anymore. It's everybody's afraid that they'll throw a flag if they sack a quarterback and then they dance or whatever to celebrate it, and then it's taunting. It's ridiculous.
Well, think about the year with Calvin Johnson. Not Calvin Johnson, but Chad Johnson.
Yeah.
Think about him. A guy that used to celebrate after every touchdown. Well, there was that one year, and I think I forgot what year exactly it was or whatever, but he was fined for 8 straight weeks because after every touchdown, he'd celebrate. So finally, after the 8th week, after getting fined every single week, he scores a touchdown, holds up a sign that says, "Dear Mr. NFL Commissioner, please don't fine me this week." And then he got fined. And then he got fined because he held up the sign that said, "Please don't fine me."
Oh my God.
He got fined. And I was
the Hall of Fame jacket. Oh my God.
Yeah.
My favorite one has to be Joe Horn when he pulled out the cell phone.
Oh, out of the goalpost.
Yep.
Oh yeah. Yeah, he got a pretty hefty fine on that one though.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, he got a hefty fine on that one. And then T.O. got a fine when he caught a touchdown pass, pulled out the Sharpie.
Yeah.
Find the football.
And signed it and then tossed it in the stands. He got a hefty fine on that one.
I remember that one.
And I was like, you can't. But then if you remember, after Joe Horn got the fine on the cell phone, the following week he scores. He walks over to the goalpost and raises up the padding just a little bit, goes to reach underneath, and then comes out and he's like, and then he walks away. And I was like, that was epic. That was epic.
He was teasing.
How about Randy Moss when he fake mooned the Packers fans?
Oh God!
No, that was disgusting.
That was Joe Buck.
That to me
that was disgusting. He said it himself.
Exactly. That never should have happened.
No.
Like that was completely disgusting. And Joe Buck actually said that best on the air because Joe Buck actually said that is a disgusting act, and I'm sorry everybody had to see that because that is disgusting.
I remember that.
For that in the NFL.
So, Christy Wilson, I'm glad you said that you remember that one too, and you agree that it was a disgusting act.
It was. I was like, When did they allow this? No. That's gross.
Yeah, the fake moon and then the rubbing the butt across the goalpost. But
Yeah.
Isaiah, Bay Area Sports Scores is on here tonight. They're leaving a comment. So Isaiah, since you're the A's fan, we will give you a chance to answer this question. So thoughts on the A's closing in on hiring Mark Kotsay as their next manager?
I want to preface my comments to say something that won't get me fired by the organization. But I mean, when I first said that Bob Melvin had to go, it wasn't because that I thought that Bob Melvin was a terrible manager. I just said that because I thought after 10 years, it's good to get a fresh voice and fresh ideas into an organization. And this hire, it's too predictable. The A's were grooming this guy to be their future manager, or to be a future manager for the last 3 to 4 seasons. I really wanted them to go out of the organization. I wanted them to go get someone out of the organization, someone that would bring new, fresh ideas, new philosophies on hitting and pitching to the organization. But I mean, I guess they're going to go with a guy that's been groomed for several years to take over. So I'm not surprised because they've been grooming him, but I just wish they would have gone with someone outside the organization just to bring some fresh ideas, fresh views into the A's organization, since we've done the same things for the last 20 years, it seems like, and we just haven't gotten out of the first round. So I will give him a shot because Mark Kotsay is a legend. I mean, this guy was actually a really good baseball player. But I didn't like how he was as a third base coach last year for the A's, since he got did you guys know the A's led MLB in runners getting thrown out from third base? And you're the third base coach. So that's a reflection on you. So I would say I would give him a chance, but from right now, I don't really like the hire.
Yeah, but it can't be any worse than, the Pirates, who allowed Javi Baez to get in a rundown between home plate and first base and still be safe. So you might be bad, you might have been the worst team at getting thrown out, at third base, but at least you didn't have that dumb play, because that will go down in the history of baseball as the dumbest play I've ever seen, because I can't think of a worse play than that. How do you allow a runner? You're on mute, mess around. You're on mute.
Okay, I was watching that and I saw the replay, and the announcer's like, why didn't he just run back and touch the phrase?
Exactly, right? And he never did. He never did. And so I was like, the inning would have been over because there was 2 outs. And so it's not even if the run would have scored, it wouldn't have counted because it was a force out. So I don't know why you have to worry about Javi Baez between, first and home. And then you have the runner on third. Why are you worried about the runner on third? Just run and touch first base. That was my thing.
Do you guys remember there was this? I think it was a Phillies game, but I forgot who they were playing, where the opposing team's batter hits a fly ball into center field, and the center fielder is running in to try to make the catch, and then he waves everybody off like he's got it. And for some reason, the right fielders, I don't know if he saw the sign or not, but he just still keeps running, and he crashes into the center fielder, and they drop the ball, and the guy is safe on first. I don't understand how was that possible, but I would say that's not the dumbest play, because obviously the Cubs Pirates one is still super dumb, but that, I don't know if that's a dumb play though, but that would probably be up there for me.
Yeah. All
right, so to round this out, since we're almost there, I think we have time for a few more topics, but we're gonna look ahead to some of tomorrow's games, and then some Monday or Tuesday or whatever. It's just that common question that we get every week. What games are you looking forward to? And then Christy, I'll go ahead and start with you. What games are you looking forward to?
Well, besides the obvious one, which would be Cowboys and Giants. Let's see. I'm thinking Tennessee-Pittsburgh sounds interesting.
That could be
good. That could be really good.
And it's going to be big for playoff seeding, though, too. That would be big because that's a game that Pittsburgh has to win. And Tennessee has to have it because they want to be able to try and get that first round bye also. And so they're right there, locked with the Chiefs also trying to get that first round bye.
Wow.
So,
but it should definitely be a really good game, I think.
Any other games?
I haven't had a chance to look at the schedules who's playing, but for me, it's Chicago, Minnesota. I know it's a homer pick, but
well, that's not till Monday anyway. But
yeah,
but there's going to be some good games tomorrow. Did you change your shirt, Isaiah, or were you wearing that the whole time?
Oh, he's got the Mullins jersey on.
Yeah,
I have to rep it, I have to rep it.
He's got to rep the Mullins jersey. Of course he does.
The Mullins jersey.
I can't wait for Monday already. I absolutely can't wait for Monday.
He's excited.
So let me tell you about some of the games that are going on tomorrow. So tomorrow's morning games, we have Panthers Bills. That one really shouldn't be the Bills should be able to get back on track in that game. They should be able to.
Is that in Carolina or is it in Buffalo?
That's in Buffalo.
Okay.
But Buffalo should still be able to get back on track. And then you have Arizona and Detroit, and they're playing in Detroit, but I don't think that's going to matter anyways.
No, not at all.
Even though DeAndre Hopkins out, I still don't think it's going to matter. Yeah. I still think Arizona. Did you say Arizona by 50?
What?
Arizona by 50.
Arizona by 50.
It's possible.
And then you have Jets Dolphins.
My gosh.
But if you remember this, Isaiah, think back to about 3 weeks ago, right? When the Dolphins rattled off 2 wins in a row, and we were on Wild Sports Talk, and we talked about this, and we're like, hey, the Dolphins have won 2 in a row. Can they get back to 500? Mm-hmm. I said it, and you said, yes, Dolphins will get back to 500. And guess what? They're 6-7. So they win tomorrow. They're right back to 500. I'll say we called that crap. We called it on Wild Sports Talk. We said they had a favorable schedule. They've rattled off 4 wins in a row. They're right there, and I was like, they can get back to 500. Now they'll screw it up and lose to the Jets tomorrow because they're almost back to 500 and still in the playoff race. That's crazy enough.
Yep.
But think about what kind of comeback that would be if somehow the Dolphins won out their games and managed to make the playoffs after starting 2-7 and coming back and making the playoffs.
I mean, that would be insane for sure. And I was going to say that too. They're still in the playoff race, which is very surprising because even 3 weeks ago, we thought the Dolphins were dead in the water.
Yeah, and they're not. They're almost back to 500. Yep. And then, of course, the next game you have the Cowboys against the Giants. Daniel Jones is not playing in that game. So, again, I do believe that Mike Glennon is actually getting the start again.
Yeah, good luck, buddy.
Well, actually, Joe Judge did say that we could see some Jake Fromm in the second half of that game.
Well, you may need to because Mike Glennon's not good.
No.
Yeah, exactly.
The Cowboys defense is going to see him and be like,
Mike that. He was a Bear for about 4 games, and he was horrible.
Mike Glennon's terrible, man.
He sucks.
So if you're a Giants fan, I really wouldn't even care if you were playing the freaking Jets or Lions at this point. I would still almost be willing to take the Lions or Jets going against the Giants when Mike Glennon's at quarterback because that dude's just not good.
Nope.
Yeah, I completely agree with you, Ace. There's been a couple times this year where in our MI6C2C pigskin pickup, I picked against the Giants and it's just bitten me in the butt.
All right, and then we have Titans Steelers. That was one that we were talking about that we said that could potentially be a good game and an important seeding game. Then This is one you can call the toilet bowl game. And the reason I'm saying that is because you have the 2-11 Houston Texans going up against the 2-11 Jacksonville Jaguars. So
Well, that's the game I'm going to be tuning in for. That's definitely the game.
No, not me.
no.
No. I don't care if Urban Meyer's not there anymore. I'm not watching it.
So potentially you'd think that maybe somebody could get their third win. However, it'd be funny if it ended in a tie.
Oh, God.
Hilarious.
And then both teams are 2-11-1 at the end of tomorrow.
Trevor Lawrence, please deliver for me. I'm starting you on one of our fantasy leagues. Please deliver for me.
So Brandon's saying Jags with the upset. But is that really an upset? Like,
No.
who goes in as a favorite in this game? That's my thing. When you're looking at Houston and Jacksonville, like that would be like a game you're like, who do we give the favorite to in this game? Because Houston's a mess. Jacksonville's a mess.
It is. They are.
They're gonna tie.
Flip a coin.
They're gonna tie.
Like in the pick'em, I don't even know who to pick in this game. I'm looking at this going, I don't know. Maybe I trust Jacksonville just a little bit more.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Adam, just pick out of a hat, bro.
3-3 tie.
a 3-3 tie.
That'd be the most appropriate toilet bowl of all time.
Well, so it could actually go either way. Like it could be one of the games to where you could see like neither team scoring, or you can see because both teams' defense is so trash that you'll see both teams just going up and down the field and scoring, and you're going to see like a 42-40 score or something like that.
That would be such a Jacksonville, Houston thing to do.
Oh yeah, just this massive like up and down the field, back and forth scoring.
That's what we want to see tomorrow. Shootout.
Well, do you really want to see a Jacksonville and Houston shootout?
No.
Hey, it beats like potentially 0-0 entering the fourth quarter, and it comes to like 9-3 or whatever.
God.
You guys remember the Alabama LSU game that everybody hyped up like a couple years back, and it ended up like 9-6 or whatever it was? Oh my God!
Yeah.
Terrible.
Well, you're going to get games like that. Games like that are definitely going to happen. But then welcome in Big B, and then you also have so now we get to the afternoon games to where you have Cincinnati versus Denver. This game could be good because this game actually means something though too, because both teams are coming in at 7-6 and both teams are trying to stay in the playoff hunt. And I think whatever team loses, I'm going to say I think their season's pretty much over at that point. Even though they're still there, I still think their season's going to be over. And then the other one, you have the Atlanta Falcons versus the San Francisco 49ers.
Yeah.
The Falcons are coming in at 6-7. I don't know how. I don't know how they're sitting at 6-7. I don't know how they've managed to get 6 wins with.
Because Isaiah hasn't jinxed them yet.
Correct.
Well, yeah, I'll be there tomorrow, though. I will be there tomorrow, and I apparently am stationed before I go to my post at section 206. I'm actually going to be guarding the Falcons locker room. So, yeah.
Oh, wow.
So, hey, when the Falcons
leaving the locker room or something?
Yeah, so normally like pregame, they usually have an usher and a security guard like right there by the locker room to open the door for the players as they come out, and then they have like to make sure like people don't stop and take pictures like while they're in the tunnel. So like I'm gonna be the one that is gonna be in charge of the Falcons locker room, opening, closing the door, and as all the Falcons players are heading out to the field, I get to shake all of their hands. So that's gonna be fun.
Ooh.
Well,
There goes the jinx.
Yeah, I'm gonna jinx Matt Ryan tomorrow.
Yeah, there goes the jinx. The Falcons have no shot now.
Nope.
Just don't touch Matt Ryan. Don't touch Matt Ryan.
Yeah, because if you touch Matt Ryan, he's going to probably get his leg broke or something. Because he touched Matt Ryan.
Wow.
Throws about maybe like 5 interceptions or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, it's going to be a horrible day for.
Just let me shake Arthur Smith's hand and like a minute into the first quarter, the headphones stop working and all that stuff. They have no communication whatsoever.
Oh god.
Conspiracy.
It's a conspiracy.
It's a conspiracy. And then of course the last afternoon game we have Green Bay versus Baltimore, which it sounds like Lamar Jackson's not going to be playing tomorrow. It sounds like it's gonna. It sounds like
by 20.
That's definitely sounds like a biased pick that somebody would pick right there. But that's still a big game for both teams also, because Green Bay's still sitting at the 1, so they want to stay at the 1, and then Baltimore, who's sitting at 8-5, they haven't looked too good the last several weeks, so they're trying to stay right there ahead in their division also. So this is going to be a big game for both teams also. And then you look at the Sunday night game, which why didn't they flex this dang game out, to be perfectly honest? And because you have the New Orleans Saints versus the Buccaneers, how can you not flex the game out?
Because it's
Tommy.
Tom Brady.
Because it's Tom Brady.
Tom
I
Brady.
know, but
Prime time.
New Orleans doesn't have a quarterback.
No.
It's Tom Brady. That's all there is to it.
Tom Brady, I heard my
man.
throw passes to both teams tomorrow on Sunday. So
Yeah, he's all-time quarterback.
That's it.
He's going to go back and forth. But those are the games tomorrow. And then, of course, Monday you have Raiders and Browns, and then Vikings, Bears, and then Tuesday, Seahawks, Rams, and then Washington and Philadelphia.
Bears by 30 on Monday night, guys.
Bears by 30?
Wow, that's a lot.
I hope so. I hope you're right, Big B.
That's why I said this is the one time, and I can't believe I'm even saying this. Like, this isn't even going to come out right if I say this.
I'll be saying it live
Don't
on camera,
throw
too.
I know. because everybody knows how much I despise Chicago.
Ooh.
But I can't believe that I'm going to actually be saying that on Monday, go Chicago. Like,
Justin Fields gonna be my big baller.
Oh.
it's so hard to even say go Chicago.
Hey,
Yeah, it's
You say you're taking Kirk Cousins as your big baller?
Nope, I'm taking Justin Fields as my big baller.
Oh, shit. Now we're going to lose for sure.
hey, he did pick Rodgers last week,
Hey,
and Rodgers had a good game.
Cousins is a jinx himself. He's 1-9 on Monday Night Football games. So
Yeah, that one win came against the Bears.
yeah.
Big E, why don't you put Nick Mullins as your big baller?
What?
Why don't you put Nick Mullins as your big baller? Come on, man. We're ending the Baker Mayfield era on Monday.
Yeah, okay.
No.
Oh, I've got this. Why don't you pick Tom Brady as your big baller? Then that way maybe he'll play bad on Sunday night against the Saints.
Well, we'll have to just tune into Morning Tailgate to see who it is.
How about
Saints
Teddy
have a
Bridgewater?
number anyway, so.
It might be Dak Prescott. It could be. It could be a kicker. I don't know.
I feel bad for that kicker.
Oh my god.
Dude, that kicker's name is Mason Crosby.
Oh.
Oh god. Yeah, pick
Hey.
Mason Crosby. We want Green Bay to drop so the Niners could play the Packers at Lambeau and knock them out.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay, Steven Jr. Nobody's going into Lambeau Field in a playoff game and knocking out the Packers. I'm sorry.
I don't feel Lambeau in the freezing cold.
Dude, all right, Isaiah. Anyway, we're right there. So we'll go ahead and start with our final thoughts. And Big B, when it comes around you can even say the games that you're looking forward to. Actually, Isaiah can too because he hasn't said it yet. But anyways, so Christy, any final thoughts for you?
Well, I just thank you for inviting me, and this was just a lot of fun. So thank you.
No problem. Mess around, Dave.
Great show. Anytime I get to be a part of Sportsminute, it's always a good thing. So,
And then, of course, Isaiah, the games you're looking forward to watching this week, and your final thoughts also.
So games that I'm looking forward to watching. Obviously I won't be able to watch a lot of the morning games because I'll be off to Levi's to get ready for the Niners and Falcons. So I'll probably say like the Bengals and the Broncos because whoever wins that one gets a leg up on the playoff picture in the AFC, and whoever loses, their season most likely is done in terms of playoff chances. And then, Niners and Falcons, obviously, can't wait to be at that game. Are we picking like only Sunday or is it?
No,
Or
whatever you want, whatever games you're looking forward to.
All right. And I would say, Seahawks and Rams is another one because, that game is always feisty between those two, no matter the record. And last but not least, Browns Raiders. I mean, who doesn't want to see Nick Mullins play on prime time on Monday? So that's going to be fun. And
Dear God.
and for my final thoughts, I want to thank the fans for tuning in. Thank you to I'm trying to pull it up. I think Justin tuned in. Big B was there. James, Bay Area Sports Scores, and I think that was about it. But I want to thank you guys for letting me take a break from eating lamb chops and mashed potatoes and hop onto the program tonight. So thank you so much. And I can't wait to break out my new Austin Reeves jersey in a Nick show.
I was gonna say I don't even know what's worse, his obsession with Nick Mullins or his obsession with Austin Reeves. I think it's like both there.
Don't forget about Trey Lance.
Yeah, Trey Lance is big.
Yeah, and Trey Lance is there though too. So he's got like these three obsessions: Nick Mullins, Trey Lance,
Matt Chapman,
and Austin Reeves.
Oh, jeez.
By the way, the Niners are giving all of our employees a 50% discount for anything in the team store tomorrow. So I might as well just buy myself a Nick Mullins or a Trey Lance jersey, probably for like $60, $70. That's what it's going to come down to.
Oh my God.
All right, and then Big B, the games you're looking forward to and your final thoughts.
Honestly, I ain't gonna lie. I'm kind of looking forward to the Jacksonville game just to kind of see how they rebound under interim coach and see if they play any different. And of course, the Monday night game when the Vikings are going to go into Soldier Field and do what they normally do, either win or get spanked. I mean, because that's what the Vikings do. It'll come down to the last play of the game, probably, and it'll be a kicker misses the kick wide left or something. So, but thanks for letting me join on, though. It's always nice to, listen to you guys. It's a great show and, all that fun stuff. And check me out tomorrow morning on the morning tailgate to see who my big ball is going to be.
Ooh.
I have to know, as a Vikings fan, how many times do you get sick of hearing, and the kick is wide right, the kick is wide left?
We laugh at it all the time. We laugh. Every time the kicker lines up, it's like, oh, this will be wide left. We're more shocked when they make them. I mean,
oh my God.
Wow.
That's great. At least your kicks don't hit the goal post and doink it.
Yeah.
Hey, we don't talk about that.
No.
Oh, the double doink?
Our kickers aren't that lucky to double doink them.
We don't talk about that. That is
No double doinks.
No, I don't. I try not to bring up the double doink as much because then Dave pulls something out of his holster against me that I hate to hear. So,
right, like the Brandon Bostwick.
Shut up! No, stop.
Go bird. Go.
That Brandon Bostic thing really hurts, man. That hurts.
Oh
Is that the one? Is that the guy that dropped the outside kick?
Yeah, that's freaking stupid Brandon Bostic that he had one job, and his job wasn't even to field the ball. His job was to block. Jordy Nelson was supposed to receive the ball, which was right behind Brandon Bostic. Brandon Bostic was supposed to let it go, and then afterwards they asked him because the coach was mad, and the coach was like, "What are you doing?" And Bostic's like, "I was trying to be a hero." Well, now you're a freaking goat is what you are. You're not the hero.
He's the goat.
Now you're walking home.
Huh?
And now you're walking home.
Yeah, oh yeah, definitely. If I would have been the coach, I would have been like, "You're walking home," because that ball was supposed to go to Jordy Nelson, and you couldn't let the ball go to Jordy Nelson. Are you kidding me?
No, if you're the coach, you should have just said, "Hey, we're going to put you in a room with Isaiah. You can listen to him talk hockey all night long."
Yes, I approve.
Vancouver Blues and Dallas Jets.
Yes, love it. Vancouver Blues, Dallas Jets.
There we go.
Anyways, that brings us to the end of our show here. So I hope all of our viewers had a great time watching our show. We got to talk a little NFL, a little baseball, a little college football. We even mentioned about the Badgers winning the volleyball championship for the first time in school history. So that was big.
Well, time they won something.
Wait. Well, how many rings do the Vikings have? Oh, wait, 0. Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yep. Well, we saw
I'm just
91.
glad
That's all that matters.
I'm just glad you guys
That's the
don't have
only thing that matters is 91.
What, Isaiah?
I'm just glad that you guys don't have any dirt on me. You guys have like dirt on all of us, like all the other guys.
We got dirt on you too.
We don't have dirt.
No idea.
Says a kid who locked himself in the trunk or his
Well, I
closet.
mean, I'm the Niners. I mean, I need to
In the toilet.
Drops his pants in the toilet. Sticks his foot in the toilet.
Sleeps
What?
in a
You don't have dirt?
closet.
What?
Oh,
Thinks Ottawa is in Kansas.
he thought Winnipeg was.
Thinks that Randall Cunningham won a Super Bowl as a coach.
Wayne Gretzky as a baseball player. Do we need to keep going?
Yeah, we have a lot of
Right?
there. It's a lot. Well, with that, anyways, we hope everybody has a fantastic night. I will not be on Between the Ropes tomorrow, but we will have a special guest for you on Between the Ropes tomorrow. You'll actually be able to catch Christy Wilson on there tomorrow night on Between the Ropes.
All right, cool.
Mess Around Dave will be there, and probably Dragon Viper, and probably Crispy Bacon. So with that, you guys have a great night, and we will see you Wednesday for another episode of Sportsminute. Have a great night.
Later.